Hello, my name is Ethan and I'm a member of Bangkok House Church. Today I want to share about my experience at the 3rd Oceania Singles Camp. I'll share a bit about myself first. I've been attending Sydney Crystal Church for about 6 months, and at that time I've been learning a lot about myself and my faith. My family is Buddhist and I've always been taught that doing good and gaining good karma was the way to live my life. I've always tried to follow that principle, and in doing so, I've grown very self-reliant and tried to understand every single thing around me. I tried to make reason out of everything that happened in my life, but I always struggled with understanding other people and the actions or choices they would make. I found it hard to see what other people see. I only focused on myself and my reasoning, never on their view. On the Wednesday before camp, I realized I had built up a lot of stress and negative energy within myself. I would get angry and confused when I didn't understand other people's actions, and it felt like it would all collect in my heart, and my heart would beat hard and fast when I thought of rude things like, why can't this person do this alone? Why do I keep getting asked to do things? I was feeling very mentally worn down and especially stressed. I was scared to tell people how I felt about their actions and how I felt about my own situation. I thought it was correct to just take on everything that was asked of me and to not let people know how I really felt. On Friday at house church meeting, I found the will to tell my house church a little bit about my problems, but I didn't really understand them myself and I wasn't able to admit my full feelings to them. I was told that camp would be one of the most revealing times for me and I had an open heart for it, but I didn't know exactly what my goals were. I kept my pre-camp prayer points rather vague in fear that I wouldn't be able to achieve what I really wanted. Thus, I went into the singles camp without really that much expectation. What I really wanted was assurance and comfort that I was living life properly. I was scared and wanted to know that I wasn't wasting my time coming to church, that there was a future and a path that I could walk and to follow to grow my faith. Coming to camp, I felt reassured that I was at least surrounded by people I trusted and admired, like my house church members and our Uber driver, Min Lee. The first day of camp, I found myself adjusting to the church environment. It was hard meeting so many new people. I felt like I had to be on my best behavior, like I was acting, but I was enjoying the community and the experience. I found prayer on the first night difficult. I didn't know what to pray about. I had feelings in my heart, but I had no idea how to share it. That night, I went to sleep excited to grow my faith, but I had felt no closer to God than when I had arrived that morning. The second day, I had started to find my way. I felt like much of the pressure I had been holding in my life had started to reveal itself and start to be answered. During the My Story in the morning, I felt like part of my worries had begun to wash away. I had been so stressed about my uni life and my future when it came to work and study, but I began to realize that all I could do was do my best and follow the path God plans and lays out for everyone. As the day went on, more and more I felt the waves of God had started to wash away the seawalls to my heart. Through Pastor Joe Kim's elective session called Money Matters, I saw the path that I didn't want myself to fall through. I saw a future of irresponsibility and knew I needed to avoid putting myself in such situations. It wasn't just the knowledge he gave us, but his testimonies and his way of reaching out and connecting to us that made me feel reassured in a way. Through these experiences, I felt like God had started to say, I know what situation you're in. Many others have lived and survived such hardship, and you too will be able to as long as you rely on me. And that night, during praise and prayer, I finally started to let go. That night, we were given guided prayer points, and I found it easy to pray. The first one we were given was to tell God every single one of our problems. And in this, I started to share every single thought I had welled up inside me for a long time. I told God how I felt stupid, how I didn't know what other people wanted from me, how I didn't like that I felt obligated to say yes to everything. I started to complain about everything I perceived as wrong in my life. And I asked for forgiveness in wanting to be selfish. I wanted to be selfish, but also wanted to be forgiven for being selfish at the same time. I started crying because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to make myself not feel the pain and stress of life. I felt so conflicted in the things I was praying for, and I just let every thought leave me indiscriminately, no matter how good or bad they were. But through it all, I felt a load off my heart, like someone else was listening to me and how I wasn't alone in feeling this way. It wasn't just me alone in that room. It wasn't just me and my actions that mattered. I didn't need to take it all on myself and think by myself. It felt like God had heard me and wanted to be there to listen and help me. Matthew chapter 11 verse 29 says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." This was one of the first Bible chapters that I heard when I started coming to Sydney Crystal Church. I may not know him yet, but I felt like I had finally been able to really share my feelings with God without any boundary. I felt like he had opened my heart through showing connections to my own life, and I was finally able to open and share. He was already He already knew what was in my heart, but it was up to me to share with him. Even that night after prayer, I was able to let go of how I felt others required me to act. I went and explored the campsite alone at night, as I would have done when I was a child. I truly found grace at the camp, and my heart has not hurt at all since. Since camp, I have put a lot more effort into sharing my feelings, not just positive ones, but negative ones as well. When I feel bad, I don't just let it sit. I admit my feelings. I reach out to those I trust. I even started listening to more praise songs. Special thanks to Claudia for singing them all the time. I still believe I have much further to grow in my journey of faith, but I believe I have been able to make a start, making my first steps to truly knowing God. Thank you for listening to my story.